Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is that you may be at this time. Thank you very much for joining our VIP question and answer session. This presentation will be given to us by Don Kinney. Don Kinney is one of our instructor trainers. He is also a member of the training advisory panel, and he is the author of this new program. And with that said, I'll leave you with Don. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I guess good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, since we have people all over the world attending this webinar. The way it's going to work, and right on the next screen here, is it's going to be about an hour-long session. I've got about 30 minutes or so of slides. Hopefully I'll be answering many of your questions. As you can see, I'm going to go over the overview on it, and you all should have a way to ask me a question on the right-hand part of your screen, is my hope. As you can see by the number of attendees, and my understanding is this is one of the largest webinars we've sponsored, everybody's muted. And the reason for that is so we don't have 100 people trying to talk at once. So everybody is muted. We apologize for that. However, you are able to go ahead and ask me questions. The speed at which the webinar works, I'll try to keep it a little bit slower paced, because as a slide pops up, you start to tap your question. I'll be moving on, so I'll try to go a little bit slower. However, at the very end of the program, we'll have at least, I would guess, about 30 minutes to answer any questions any of you might have. And I'll be monitoring the question box near the bottom of my screen, and hope I'll get everything answered for you. So with that being said, I will go ahead and continue. And I guess one last thing on this slide, as you can see, it is being recorded, and it would be available that if you know of somebody who might have missed this or you have future questions, you're welcome to go ahead and review the webinar. So with that being said, some of the basic topics we're going to be covering about this new program are extensive. We're talking about why it came about, the overview, how we became compliant with at least U.S. federal regulations, as well as some different regulations in different countries. I'm going to have some tools that are available, talk about staffing, the prerequisites, including the Instructor Trainer prerequisites, which many people have had a question about, and refresh and then scheduling the future classes as far as getting this program up and moving. I just see one quick question on the bottom, and it might be important for everybody. Somebody's saying they have no sound. What little I know about this system, on the right-hand side, there is a way to unmute your button. I wish I could tell you more than that, but go ahead and just check the sound recordings. There's actually a test button. Say test sound recordings, because every laptop or computer has a different sound array. So give that a try, and with that I'll keep moving forward. I guess the main reason is for many of you that are on this conference, you've been teaching the ITI or SDI Visual Inspection Program for a number of years, and now all of a sudden this new program comes out and you go, why the change, what's going on with it? So one of the main reasons for the need for the change is that those of you who've taught this program in the past, it had some limitations to it. It didn't cover valves much at all. It didn't go over the cleaning of a cylinder. It had zero issues on covering compressors, and didn't review many regulations. It was a good program for the base needs of people. However, it didn't cover many answers. It didn't answer any questions that many people might have had. So with that being said, what we wanted to do to go forward from Headquarters International Training is that we want to go ahead and not only cover items involving scuba diving. This program is designed for numerous, numerous industries. Scuba diving is one. That's kind of the background of many of you on the conference call currently. But at the same time, these cylinders are widely used in firefighting, industrial, laboratories, military, aviation. You name it, cylinders are out there. And ITI wanted to go ahead and be one of the leaders in that area as far as covering all these different divisions and different companies. Basic overview is when I put this program together, what was difficult in the past was that you would have a group of scuba divers or a group of firefighters or requalifiers or inspectors, and you had to go ahead and adapt the program depending on who you're speaking to. So when I put this program together, it was more specific that everybody could be in the room at the same time. I've taught this program in that environment many, many times. I would probably say at least 30% of somebody in my current classes is not related with a different industry. It's something different. However, everybody appears to be understanding and accepting of the materials because it's based upon a generalized knowledge of it covers all cylinders. We're talking cylinders, valves, rules in the high-pressure industry. It's not something we're just talking about a scuba cylinder, which the last program did. We are now talking about a cylinder, whether it's going to be steel, composite, aluminum, and that's why I wanted to do this. So with the current program, anybody taking it can be from any industry, and the instructor standing at the front of the group can go ahead and feel confident that they're getting points across to all the different groups and all the different people in their respective industries. This program we put together is completed in one day. You don't have to take numerous classes over numerous days. We'll go over some of the specifics onto it, but what I've been finding out there is many people who want to go ahead and learn about safety, they have limited time frames, whether it be the military and they have other training areas to go to, firefighters with their training, but what they need to have is something available to them that we can go out there and give them what they require in one day so they have an understanding about what to do next. And then if they wish to have more knowledge, of course, this course is going to give them different areas and they can move forward with their knowledge if they wish to. But our course, when somebody comes to it, is going to be completed in one day, and there's no need for multiple days of scheduling to go ahead and get it completed. For those of you who've taught the course in the past, we've updated a lot of the registration procedures. One of my first things I worked with Sean Harrison about was the general liability release. Because we are covered by an insurance carrier, of course, they're going to require some sort of a waiver. But as many of you know, when you take a non-diving course that's sponsored, you are giving the participants a diving waiver, which didn't make much sense. And numerous times I would teach a fire group, and I had them sign the waiver, but it was about scuba diving, and it was kind of a joke of the class. So what International Training has done is they came up with a brand new liability release for this course. So when somebody actually signs the release, they're going to go ahead and protect themselves from the basic hazards of the course, dropping something, poking themselves in the eye, whatever might come about. But it's an actual liability release for the participants, specifically for this course, being non-dive related. Another item that we have on there, as you can see on the very top, is there's no medical statement required. In the past, again, if I'm going to go ahead and teach a course like this, I don't care if somebody's pregnant. It's not a concern to me whether or not somebody had a heart illness many days ago or weeks ago or years ago. And so it's important to go ahead when we do this program that you don't need a medical statement anymore because it's involving people that just might be working in a shop. Also, no liability or new liability release form. And the registration form is very simple. For those of you who've taught the course in the past, you're probably used to filling out a folder. Numerous pages, making sure everything's in place before you can go ahead and register the students. Not anymore. Now you just basically need the standard information, the name, address, email, standard things to do the registration, as well as a copy of the release form, and you're done. So you no longer have to go through multiple steps of dive-related liability and medical releases for this non-diving course. What I like to say in this new program is International Training is giving somebody a choice out there. Whoops, my apologies. When somebody needs to update the training, they don't need to go to only one company. As most of you are aware, there's companies out there. In fact, if you take a look on the web, there are many companies which teach cylinders inspections. But in our industry, most in the dive industry, they know of only one. And right now we're saying that, nope, we need to go ahead and we have some choices out there, and that's where International Training Program comes into play. Our program is compliant with government safety, training regulations, no different than anybody else out there. We cover everybody. And the biggest one that we'd like to say, I guess what you've probably heard out there, if most of you probably on the internet, you read certain things, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to see advertising, and on the advertising aspects of things, it says other companies saying we're endorsed by, the only one out there, the only one approved by. I think it's very, very important to let people understand that this program also has, it's been recognized by local, federal, international governments, but none of those governments, specifically the U.S. government, will endorse any specific program. They won't do it. Even called up the DOT the other day, said, great, if you guys are endorsing people, how do I do it? And they said, we don't endorse people. We can't endorse people. We can't go ahead and deal with an individual. So when you're hearing things out there about how other programs are different, they aren't different. Maybe in certain ways they teach the information, but at the same time, they're not the only ones out there who are endorsed by or approved by, because the U.S. government, and as far as I know, even something like the CGA isn't going to endorse a specific entity. They want to keep it very broad scoped. So again, finally, the U.S. government will not endorse a company. And if I could get that endorsement, I know we could do it, but the government doesn't even allow it, so no need to go that way. The other thing I like about this program, and when I first was speaking to headquarters and Brian and Sean about it, it was very, very, very important that we honor all previous inspection training programs. We aren't solely for international training. If you've taken other courses out there and you've gotten the proper training, fantastic. We hope you come over, you look at our course, and once you kind of go through this briefing, if you ever take a course in the future, you'll see why our course is fantastic and it's going to fit your needs. And we don't care whether you've been trained by others or by us. Everybody's welcome to come on board, and we're not going to be locking people out, or we're not going to be telling people out there, oh, your program's no good, or we need to have better training than that. We will honor all of your experience, because many of you out there probably on this webinar, mostly it's people in foreign countries, might be self-taught, and because you've been self-taught and you've had to teach yourself, doesn't mean you know any less than anybody else. So we just welcome everybody on board, and we always will, and I hope that will never change. The compliance issue on the previous slide. We are compliant with CGA protocols, the NFPA, OSHA, and HSE. When I was building the program, I was very, very particular and specific that when I'd write something in the program, it was compliant. And what I also was very cautious to do in the program is if I state something in the program, or if you read something in the program, there's going to be a reference on the slide that says where that came from. What I like to say is a lot of things, we aren't making the rules. You, the instructors that are listening in, you're out there and you're teaching this. It's not your opinion that you're teaching what a government agency is stating, and then your job is to go ahead and help the participants understand it because they might not have any experience in it. So the compliance aspect, whether it be CGA, NFPA, OSHA, HSE, it is compliant. Does it cover every single rule from every single one of these agencies? No, because it's very specific. We're talking about cylinders and valves. We believe we've covered all the basics, but if we didn't, obviously as time moves on and we update the program, we'll make those adjustments. And those of you out there who are teaching the program and have some suggestions for me, or for headquarters, by all means, let the training department know, and we'll make them as we go along. But as of now, I am fairly comfortable that we are compliant with everything that's out there, and I have not seen any concerns as of date. So what are we going to cover in the program? And it's extensive. First thing, we're going to be covering steel cylinders. And in the steel cylinder industry, we're talking storage, oxygen, industrial, even scuba. Any place that there's a steel cylinder, and there are, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of millions of these cylinders out there, we're going to be covering those cylinders. Next, we're going to cover all aluminum cylinders, beverage industry, scuba, oxygen cylinders. And then finally, we're going to go out there and start covering the composite cylinders, firefighting, paintball vehicles, and even in that same area, some of them have been approved now for even scuba diving use. When I first was teaching this program, I would talk about steel, aluminum, and composites, and many people in the class would say, well, I don't really care about those composite cylinders. They aren't applicable to me anymore. And every time somebody says that, I can generally point within their industry where they're starting to make headway, whether it's going to be from an O2 bottle, or it's going to be an aviation bottle, or it's going to be a cylinder which they have, which is going to be modified for secondary use, but they're starting to come out there, so people suddenly realize that they do need to learn about these composite cylinders. So that is very important for our program to cover high-pressure cylinders, steel, aluminum, and the composites in all these different industries. Also, the program is going to be covering valves. When I put the valve program portion of this together, it wasn't just for one specific industry. It was for industrial, cryogenic, scuba, oxygen. Nice thing about a valve, they work very similarly. They go ahead and they trap gas. You turn a handle or some other device, and it opens up and it supplies the gas. And so I put it very generic. And I did it as well because if the instructor is out there teaching a specific group of people, they can ask them what valves they use, get them familiar with it, and get them more comfortable to go and understand the workings of their specific valves, so they can go ahead and troubleshoot them or possibly repair them or whatever they might need to do. But the valve portion of the class is very generic, and it's designed to be adjusted for whoever the audience might be. I went over cleaning, tumbling, compatibility with oxygen, ways to clean the cylinder. Again, it's a number of slides, and it's up to the instructor to understand from the audience where their terms are going to be for cleaning a cylinder. Some, if you're dealing with O2 and mixing and gas blending, you're going to be a little bit more detailed with your audience. For those of you who might not, maybe they have no idea, then they can just kind of keep it very basic. So the way the program was put together was valves, cleaning, cylinders. It's quite a bit of knowledge, and a lot of information you have to be passing along. But at the same time, it's going to give the instructor the ability to adapt, change, and meet the needs of their specific audience. The final thing I added, which I'm very happy that it got added to the program, was the issue of compressors. I've been doing this for a number of years, and I have found out, in fact, I just taught a group of individuals, and they had a very expensive compressor system, yet they'd never operated it. And I asked them why. I said, we were never taught. We don't know about it. We don't understand it, and frankly, it kind of worries us. We don't know. We don't want to do something wrong and destroy this very expensive piece of equipment. So in this program, it doesn't talk to them how to repair a compressor in any way, shape, or form. But what it is going to do is how they operate it, maintenance tips, the importance of bleeding out the extra, excuse me, the extra moisture separators, ways to set up their filtration systems, and primarily a maintenance log, how to maintain their system so if there is a problem, they can go ahead and stop the compressor and get somebody in there to fix it before it becomes a huge concern or a very costly repair process. So on the compressor end of it, again, it's going to be dependent upon the instructor. Again, as an example, I gave one of my classes a talk on the course. We then went and spent an hour with their compressor so they could get comfortable with it. I was able to adapt the course accordingly to give the students what they needed to be very happy with the course, and it worked out very well. But we're going to give the instructors that adaptability in this program. We're not going to keep them locked down to one specific training format. They have some flex. Because it's international training and because we are now in the world of computer systems, it was very important that we have an e-learning component, a way for somebody to go online and to go ahead and understand about the program and to learn about it and maybe not be actually in the classroom at that point in time. With the e-learning component, what we did, we took the manual and we placed it into an electronic format. With that, the student, prior to the class, has able to go online, review some information, answer some test questions, and get comfortable with what they're going to be taught. Then they must go to the hands-on portion. The only thing I've probably heard in the past year about the program is people are saying, oh, I can go online and I can get certified. No, you can't. As most of you know on this conference call, you can't just go ahead and take an e-learning course on something like cylinder inspections. It does require hands-on. It requires an experienced instructor to be in front of you, and it wants to do some hands-on because not every cylinder is going to be the same. So the online component that we're looking at gives those students the ability to go ahead and take a look before they come to the class, because many of them that are going to be coming to the instructors have no idea what to expect, what to ask, and as the instructors that they're speaking, they might be mulling a question over in their mind, but by the time it's on the next slide, the student doesn't ask the question. This is going to give them that opportunity to have a much better understanding, so when they do go to class, they can ask some questions of the instructor. But I just want to end on this one is I don't want anybody to think or anybody to tell anybody else out there that simply taking an e-learning course they're going to be certified. They are not. It's just another tool that you can use as an instructor or a student to go ahead and broaden your knowledge. Anybody who does inspections, they're going to require the tools. And that was the one thing which we had to get as part of this program. It's great to put the books and the materials out there, but now as we're using the different tools, the student asks, well, where am I going to get those tools? Talking to headquarters, they don't want an inventory inspection tool. It's a pain. A lot of things are changing, shipping out, and International Training is a training agency. So they've teamed up with Cylinder Training Services to go ahead and carry all the necessary tools. And the tools are everything. You would need complete kits, custom inspection lights, wireless cameras, cleaning products, tumblers. Anything an inspector might need is available from Cylinder Training Services at a very fair rate. Example, a complete kit for somebody just starting out in the whole process would run $250 for everything that they might need. So when those instructors are talking to the students and the first question the student asks, well, geez, where do I get that piece of equipment? They have a place where they can send them to go ahead and get the proper tools and equipment at a very fair and reasonable price. Professional staff. I've heard it said that other organizations out there is nobody else can supply the same kind of knowledge and availability that we can. And I always say that's completely, totally false when it comes to international training. As you saw in the previous slide, international training is a very large organization, only focusing on the needs of training. Because of that, they have, I don't even know the number of staff. I just know they have a very large facility in Florida, and they have 24 regional offices worldwide. I can guarantee that if any one of somebody's students had a specific question, and we'll go out and we speak to the instructors and the different facilities out there, that we could get the answers. I was just in, at least by an email contact with a facility in Thailand, and reading through his resume, it was fantastic what he had to offer. And I'm sure that if I couldn't answer a question for an individual, I could go ahead and make contact with somebody in Thailand and see what information they might have based upon their experiences. So if anybody out there is hearing that international training won't have support for the specific program, I would say it's a very false statement. There's 24 regional offices. There are staff alone can answer questions, and beyond that, it's worldwide. And we have a lot of people involved in this program, and a lot of people have a lot of knowledge, and everybody is more than willing to share it. Insurance. This is the one thing we can say, as far as I know, that nobody else can say. This program is the only one on the market that's covered by an insurance carrier. And that is huge when you're going to teach this to somebody, such as when I went and taught a U.S. government agency. The first question they asked was, okay, what kind of backing do you have? We have errors and omissions insurance. The instructors teaching the course are covered by insurance. If the facility uses the program as presented, they're covered. And the biggest thing on this one is this program has quality assurance by an outside third party, meaning that the insurance carrier is saying that your program is safe. If there is a problem, we will go ahead and back you. If something occurs at a facility and they blame the fact of they did what ITA told them to do, they will have some backing for it. They're not going to be left out there hanging. They're not going to be dealing with just a single individual. It's a worldwide insurance program who's backing this program. And that's where it comes up to the final line you see there, the quality assurance. We don't have the ability to make and change the rules just willy-nilly. We have to go out there and ensure through the quality assurance programs that everything that we do makes sense, it's backed. And even as putting this program together, it took a long time because lots of eyes had to go on it and lots of people had to agree before we moved forward with it. So anybody teaching our program, as far as I know, we are the only one out there that has insurance. So you instructors who are participating in this webinar, and you're going to go out there and speak to the fire departments, federal governments, even other dive stores that are out there, you can let them know that that they're covered and that there's quality assurance involved, and they're not going to be left hanging out there on their own. They're going to be backed. So now let's go into some of the prerequisites for most you people, individuals, I'm sorry. My apologies, got the first question. Okay, and Sean answered that question. So moving on. What are the prerequisites? First one, pretty easy. And that's going to be the inspector, the user level. The person who maybe has never seen this in their life, they need to understand what to do, how to do it, so they're not worried by it. Maybe somebody who gets a brand new compressor doesn't know how to operate it. All they have to be is 18 years old. We chose that, at least for this country in the United States, because to deal with hazardous materials, you have to be an adult. You can't have juveniles. So we chose the 18 years old. And this program, again, it's fill station technicians, firefighters, divers, commercial, laboratory, aviation, beverage industry, anybody who's going to be around a high-pressure cylinder. This one-day course will let them understand what to look for, give them the experience, give them a flavor of compressors, valves, and give them an excellent starting point to go ahead and begin their careers in this area and keep them safe and compliant. Next one, to become an instructor. I'm an instructor, minimum 21 years old. And if you're currently an SDI, TDI member, instructor, assistant instructor, or equivalent, and that's the important aspect of we don't discriminate. If you are a different dive training organization, if you've been trained by some other organization out there and you have some experience but you want to start training our program, we're open to you. When we were talking about this program, I was adamant that I wanted people to be able to train this program who might not have dive training experience. I know many people in the industry which have an entire lifetime of experience. They've been teaching this course, but now they just need an avenue and a source to go through it. But they can't go through a multi-week process learning how to dive to become a dive instructor, but they do have the knowledge to go out there and teach this program. And we have ways for that to be done, such as what you can see, they're the non-international training instructors who have unique experience in cylinder inspections with approval of international training, requalifier, firefighters, gas supply companies. Somebody out there might have a number of in-house employees or students, and they want to go ahead and take our program and teach them. They have a way to become instructors through this program. It obviously limits them. They can't go out there and teach scuba diving after they take a course like that and approved. However, it does give them the ability to take this one specific program and teach it to others so they can go ahead and spread the word and keep everybody safe. Non-international training instructors can go through the crossover orientation or what they call the non-diving specialty instructor course onto it. We do ask if someone wants to become an instructor, they have to be affiliated with a facility that uses high-pressure cylinders. If somebody works out of their home, they don't have a compressor, they don't have a lot of experience, they obviously wouldn't qualify. One of the prerequisites is at least inspecting cylinders for at least 6 months. And that's the minimum. Obviously, most people that want to become instructors, they have years and years and years of experience. But we start off with the minimum of the 6 months. And the other one thing is they have to have some sort of a verification or a signed affidavit that they've been inspecting a number of cylinders. I know some of you looking at the screen now and say, wow, 50 cylinders in the past year, I do that in a day. And yes, there are many people out there, many instructors who do that in a day. Other ones may be in different parts of the world. They look at their cylinders, they look at numbers of them, but they might not get that many. But at the same time, they need to go ahead and spread the knowledge in their areas. So we tried to go ahead and come up with some numbers to not only be local, but be worldwide. But of course, we want to make sure that any instructor who's out there is going to go ahead and have the knowledge and capabilities to teach a student in the proper manner. And the good thing about this program is it will go ahead and help those individuals because it's a very basic course and it walks them through step by step to the procedures. Oops, sorry, one more for this one slide. And so to become an instructor, the one thing that is required is they have to attend the full one-day session, for the user course with an instructor trainer, so they understand the knowledge and they understand how the course operates and what the different slides means. It also gives that instructor the ability to ask specific questions about the specific slides to make sure that everybody's on the same page and they understand how it's laid out. And then afterwards, they have to get with an instructor trainer to go over more specifics to make sure there's no questions, to set up the areas of how are questions answered and how's the program specifically done. So a lot of people are saying, well, I've been teaching this program for a long time. Why do I have to go and spend the day and relearn the process? It's not relearning the process. It's learning the program. The program has been completely rewritten. It's 190 slides. And no matter what program you've been teaching, to try to memorize 190 slides without at least a quick overview of a one-day course just doesn't work. So yes, I'm not saying that people who've been teaching this course don't know what they're talking about. That's not the intent. The intent is for people who've been teaching the program, it's going to give them the ability to go ahead and ask the instructor trainer specifics about that and get all their questions answered. So when the slide pops up on the screen and the student asks the question, they can answer it accordingly. Next, on the instructor trainer part of it, the prerequisites to be an instructor trainer for the program: be an active SDI, TDI, ERDI instructor trainer, be an active VIP inspector, obviously. We're looking at been inspecting cylinders for a minimum of 2 years and again, must have taught a minimum of 5 VIP inspector classes, issuing 10 inspector certifications. And that's based upon a worldwide area. Again, I know there are many people on this webinar who are probably rolling their eyes at this and, oh my God, is that the minimum? No. I would hope that most people taking this course have a lot more experience than that, but we have to keep this in mind. This is a worldwide training organization, and not everybody has as many cylinders, and we have to try to make this available worldwide to keep everybody safe. And it might be difficult in certain parts of the world to not have as many students, but that doesn't mean we want to go ahead and restrict their abilities to go ahead and teach this program. Previous VIP instructor trainers, those of you who have been instructor trainers on the past VIP course or the former VIP course will be required to issue a minimum of 5 updated VIP training certifications prior to upgrading. So, and that is something obviously to talk to the training department about, and they can get more specific. And this will probably be about 2016 as our guess. Obviously the training department has control when they don't want to adjust or train it. Right now, we're just getting the instructors online. For those of you who've been instructor trainers and have been instructors, you're just getting used to the program. Nobody's taught the program yet. I mean, I take that back. The program's been taught a couple times, but not to the extent that somebody can be comfortable enough to become an instructor trainer. So yes, you're going to be able to, these are the prerequisites as they're looked at right now by headquarters, and it's going to be available as soon as possible. I would say if we had to give you a date to look at, probably about 2016, but it could also be sooner. It just depends upon how this whole program rolls out. And for as many attendees as we have in this current program right now, excuse me, on this webinar right now, I think the rollout's going to be fast and furious. We might need to go ahead and up that date if at all possible. We'll see how that works out. The 3-year instructor refresh. The next one was, okay, we have instructors out there. They've been teaching, but how do they get refreshed? A student and in hazmat has to be refreshed every 3 years. So we have to have something in place to make sure that the people teaching need to go ahead and be refreshed. So some of the things we've come up with, and this might change, but this is kind of some of our different ideas we've batted around. First off, we want to make sure that trainers keep current with government rules and regulations, whether that be in the United States, UK, Australia, Thailand, doesn't matter, but they need to be available and need to keep up on the rules and regulations, because I'm sure everybody on this webinar knows governments change rules on a regular basis, and we have to keep up on them. And it's difficult, but we want to make sure we do the best we can. We're going to come up with an update at least every 3 years. Some of the updates are a minimum of 1 class every 2 years, or they have to taught a couple classes in the 3 years. If they haven't taught at all in a 3-year time frame, well, they can't be refreshed because they've got to go ahead and get themselves up to speed. Problem is, we were talking about internationally, and by no means would we require an international instructor to fly all the way to the U.S. or someplace like the headquarters to go ahead and be retrained on the process. So we're going to come up with some sort of an online or written examination based upon it, just to go ahead and make sure that the instructors out there, or the instructor trainers down the road, are keeping current. Not quite sure how that's going to happen. Some options are maybe like a small research paper, making sure that they understand where to look and find the codes that are relevant, and a way for headquarters to go ahead and monitor that at the same time, just to make sure that the people teaching the course are up to speed on that. Next issue is marketing strategy. It's not a new program for those of you who might be kind of wondering about it. International Training's had a program for, I believe, 20 years. I don't know for certain what it is, so it might be a little bit less, might be a little bit more, but let's use 20 years as our number. This is just a new program. And again, the main purpose of this new program is we want to go ahead and give people out there an option for taking some different training. We're going to be one of them. Because it's a newer program to the industry, because we didn't have as many people who would like taking the international training program, we've gone ahead and headquarters is starting a marketing blitz. We're going out there, and those of you, I hope all of you, receive the newsletters, and you've seen the great job Darren does on those, and he's going out there and he's sending the newsletters and the updates and everything. You'll notice our new program on there, every single one of them. We're doing everything we possibly can to go ahead and market this out there. We're going to be attending all the trade shows that we can. At the trade, we're going to put in the newsletters, social media advertising, target marketing, industry contacts, government, safety organizations. Anybody we can, headquarters is taking a lead to go out there and get the word out there. Our hope is once we get the lead out there and this thing gets going, it creates a life of its own. and there won't need to be as much. But right now, for this specific program, to go ahead and beat the competition and to let people know that they have a choice, is headquarters going to take a major step and a major role in getting this whole process going. And it's got to be done at a headquarters level. Individual instructors in individual areas of different parts of the world can't do it on their own. It's got to be headquarters based. Again, the main thing is we want to go ahead and make sure that headquarters is going to give every opportunity possible to go ahead and take the course, whether it's going to be that one-day course or speak with an instructor trainer. And for that, all we can say is contact headquarters. If the course, which is an excellent course, and you want to get more involved with it, and you want to go ahead and bring it to your area, whether it be in Thailand or in New Zealand or in Singapore, all you have to do is contact, for instance, those people in international markets. Contact Paul Montgomery. Let him know you want something, that you need to have this course there. We will work it out with you. We will do whatever it takes to get the program going. And as long as we have a few people that are interested, that's fantastic. We will go and we will do it. It's difficult, obviously, if only one person in one far-off location wants to go ahead and get it. It becomes economically unfeasible to do something like that. However, if anybody has any interest whatsoever in the process or wants training in their area, all you have to do is call and ask, and we will bend over backwards to make sure we can handle that for you. Just ask. So we're going to use every means possible to promote the new program. Again, target marketing, social media, newsletters. Hopefully people that are on this webinar are going to spread the word out that now there's a choice. They don't only have to deal with one company, and maybe that one company isn't offering everything they need. We offer everything, and this is a worldwide. Again, we have all those regional offices out there, and we're going to spread this worldwide so we can keep as many people safe as possible. And we're also going to be giving to those instructors on this webinar the ability to teach an excellent course that I've been teaching this course for a number of years. And I can say that when people take the class, at the end of it, they're happy with it. And I've taught people that have been done this for years and years, and those brand new. And this course is designed to meet everybody's needs. So it's a good thing to market. I think people will enjoy it. And headquarters is backing this, I would say 120%. Brian's on board. He's putting all of his resources out there. I know when I talk to them, I've got 3 or 4 people that are working behind the scenes and all this kind of stuff. So for those of you out there who are kind of wondering, well, here's a new program. Why am I going to invest in this new program as an instructor? What is in it for me? It's going to be a big program. It's going to take off. And I would say you want to be a part of it because headquarters has it, and it's going to benefit everybody out there in the world. So with it, some scheduled classes that we have. And we're talking not only inspector classes, the basic user, the first-time person dealing with cylinders, but we also, at every one of those, we're going to try to offer an instructor class following. Because as you saw in the prerequisites, you have to attend and inspect the basic class before you can go on into the instructor training course. So we're trying to combine them at the same time. Again, just ask us. We've got a number of trade shows we're going to be attending, the ones that are actually on the books. Here in end of this month, we're going to be in Chicago at Our World Underwater. That class is starting to fill up. We've got a number of people, and that's going to be on the Friday before the show, and then we have the instructor meeting at the Saturday after the show. We're also going to go Beneath the Sea, and at the Beneath the Sea, again, we have a number of people. FDIC, for those of you who might not be aware on this webinar, it's a huge fire conference. We believe that in the fire industry, they have a large number of cylinders, mostly composites, and so we're going to make ourselves available to both the user, the firefighters, and anybody wishing to become an instructor at that show. Long Beach, obviously for international training, Demon, Florida. And I was speaking to one of the other instructors, Rod Peterson, and he was mentioning he goes to some other smaller shows that maybe headquarters won't go to. Fantastic. We're going to start promoting those shows as well. The main purpose of these scheduled classes is that we want the entire world to know that they have an option. And any place that they're going to be, we're going to do our best to be there to meet their needs at the same time. For the World Dive shows and regionally, because I know one of the huge concerns that Paul has been dealing with the international, the regional offices, is how about my area, how about my area? I can give you my personally that whatever I can do to go and assist somebody, I gladly will. All we're looking for is somebody to go ahead and lead the charge in that specific region, put the word out to fellow dive stores or other people that are in that area that might be interested, whether it be their own fire departments. And if they get a few people out there, headquarters can go out there, we can help the people, we can set up the programs, and we can get you as instructors, and we can get you up to speed. And we definitely understand that some different rules apply out there, but with those different rules, we can adapt and we can do whatever we can. I think it's a good time to add, it's not on the slide, but I know one of the concerns, we talked to people in Australia and the UK and Thailand, and with ASSET and the different rules and regulations out there, we're fully understanding of something like that. And so the best way to maybe describe this program through international training is the fact that anybody can take this course. It's a knowledge course. Can you take this course and go to the UK and start hydro testing cylinder, even inspecting them? No, you cannot. There's different rules in all the different countries. So why would you want to take this course? Why would you want to teach this course? Because of the base knowledge. And like any of us out there in the industry, anything that we can do to keep ourselves safe, there's a purpose to take this course. So our ultimate goal is to go out there into the international marketplace and to go to these different dive shows or set up different areas, and we start to spread the word of the purpose of this program, which is safety. And I believe anybody out there in the entire world would get benefit from our specific program. And when it comes to the specifications of the individual governments, that's where we're going to work with the regional offices, and we'll do whatever we can to make it compliant with all the different rules from all the different regulations from all the different international governments. And then finally out there is we have custom class dates. Again, we're going to arrange it. So if you're on the line now and you're listening to this and this interests you, but you haven't heard that there's going to be one in your area, near the end of the slide we'll give you an email address. Give us a call, talk to us, ask us. We're not going to leave you out there and not give you any assistance. Our goal and headquarters goal is to do whatever we can to make your lives easier and to make this a very easy process for you. So just give us a call and we'll set up a custom class date for you and we'll make it work. So kind of in conclusion, before I go over some of the questions what I see are being answered as we go along, some of the basic topics that we covered, and this might be the time to step on into the questions and start typing some of them. The need for the change, why we made the program change. I know that was a hard pill to swallow for many of you out there who have been teaching this program for a number of years, and now we're going to go ahead and have you change over to this new program. I hope I answered some of those questions for you. Maybe not all. I wish I could answer them all for everybody, but at the end of this program you'll have my email address. Call me, talk to me, email me, and I'll do the best thing I can. All I can promise you is that I can give you the reasons for it, but I can't guarantee you're going to agree with it, but at least we can open those lines of communications up, and I can guarantee headquarters is also open to communication. They'll be happy to talk to you about it. I like the third bullet down there, creating a choice, where there's another option out there now. You not only have to go to one location, one show, one company. International Training has a similar program with a lot more knowledge, and I wish I could give you kind of a guarantee. What I can promise you is I've been teaching this program for a couple of years now, and as far as I know, I've never had a dissatisfied customer. Most of them ask about when I can come out next. So I think the program, when you start teaching it, it'll be very well received. What the program is going to offer, again, steel, aluminum composite, valves, compressors, and oxygen cleaning. Some of you out there have already mentioned that. That's a lot of stuff to cover in a day. It is, but at the same time, I've done it, and if you want more knowledge in a specific area, you have that ability. You can give more knowledge in a specific area. Maybe there's a couple slides you would like to add and give some more focused attention to. That's fine. But this program, as it stands, gives most of those people out there at least a base understanding. We have the e-learning component. One final time, just taking the e-learning component does not let you go ahead and become certified in the course. You have to go ahead and hook up with somebody. We have the tools available to you. We have a worldwide professional staff to assist you and answer any questions you might have. Insurance, if you teach this program, you will be covered. It's a third party. It's somebody who's covered our process here, and that really comes into play when you sit down and you talk to a large organization, a government, or even somebody in the industries out there. The first thing they're going to ask you is, what kind of coverage do I have here? What says that you're going to protect me if something goes wrong? And you can show them a piece of paper. And that's the one thing which nobody else can do. We can do it. We went over the instructor prerequisites. Any questions there, I'll be happy to answer them, but I would also sadly going to have to direct you to the training department. That's their expertise, and they can be happy to work with you on that. The refresh, I think it's a little typo, I think it's a 3-year instructor refresh. My apologies. And then also primarily on the scheduled classes. If you want us in your area, make a phone call, and we can work with you in that area. And so finally, I guess, now it's time for some questions. You can type them in. I'll expand my other screen here a little bit to see if there's anything specific I should be covering onto it. Also, maybe you can't type in or you're busy on that. You can definitely go ahead on it, and you see the emails up there, either the info@cylindertrainingservice.com. I'll answer that directly, or contact headquarters, and we can answer any questions you might have on it. And Sean, I know you're monitoring. I don't want to throw you in the bus, but was there any specific question that you feel might need some clarification?
No, Don. The only one that seems to be reoccurring is how a current TDI VIP or SDI VIP instructor would get the ability to be able to teach this program. So if you could cover that one more time, that would be great. And just as a reminder, you have less than a minute left right now. I apologize for that.
Oh, my apologies. I tried to just drag it out, but maybe it's too far. So I guess very quickly is if to become a current, you have to go ahead and attend the program. And if a program isn't currently scheduled in your area, contact headquarters or look at the info@cylindertrainingservices.com and go ahead and ask us that you want a class in your area, and we will set up the training for you. That's the best thing. We will do whatever we can. We want to get this out there. We'll do everything we can to get this as fast and furious and spread as quickly as we can. So just ask us and we'll handle it for you. Anything? And I don't know our time thing on here, Sean. That might shut down.
Less than 10 seconds, so you may want to say your goodbyes.
We'll say goodbye to everybody then. And answer, question us or call us if you need to.
We may still be on, but it's saying that we're out.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. So if you are still on the call, thank you for everyone for attending this. We will be going through the question list and getting everybody, lots of questions are flooding in right now. I apologize for the short timing on this one, but we will go through all the question list and make sure that we get a response back to any of your questions. As a general thing, you can just look at the screen if you can still see it. Make sure you send any questions that you may have to the HQ@tdisdi.com, training@tdisdi.com, or the info@cylindertrainingservices.com, and we'll make sure that we get those to you.
And one thing too, Sean, I mean, obviously our apologies to those people listening. We're getting a lot of them saying we're still on. And looking at the time, it says 9:47. My guess is because we started 15 minutes earlier, maybe the webinar is good for an hour, so we still might have another 15 minutes to answer some of these questions.
Okay.
The clocks you and I are seeing is the full one.
All right. And Brian, just for that one, you can look on the, we have some, Brian Shreves, I apologize. We have some information on that. It's $500 for the course, and that includes both the user level course as well as the instructor side of it too.
I'm trying to scan through this. As you guys are all typing out there, I'm trying to read them, but obviously I'm behind the... Sean, again, maybe you can throw into the bus. Maybe you can help me with anything else that maybe was asked earlier. I'm also doing a quick one.
Here's one that relates back to one of the questions. Didier, you asked the question about the insurance company, and I'll just go ahead and address that right now. If you are currently insured by Willis, and that would be covered under your current insurance policy, we are working diligently to create a new insurance thing right now, a new option. So at present, the insurance company that would be covering this course would be Willis.
And then some of the questions on there as well is the technician course requires update every 2 years. No, that is not correct. It would be every 3 years. There was a typo. My apologies. I will take one for the team on that one. Sorry.
And then, Wesley, you had a question about the e-learning. The e-learning is under the new format, so you can use that on any device. All of our e-learning courses have been switched over to the new format. So tablets, iPhones, iPads, Androids, you pick it. We can get it taken care of. You can take the courses on there as well as register students and all the other features.
I see a question here from Rob saying, he's asking, so even if we are already VIP instructors, we still need to go through the course? Yes. And it's not saying you don't know what you're doing. I understand that. It's not the purpose to go through it. It really is to get you familiarized with this 190 course slide to make sure you understand how it's put together and what to do. And it was a huge issue at headquarters, but that was the ultimate decision. But by all means, talk to us, call us, and we can try to sway you to understand the reasoning behind it. But yes, even if you already are a VIP instructor, this is a brand new program. We've got to go ahead and get you up to speed on the new materials. Not that you don't know it, but you've got to understand how it lays out.
Apologize for that, Wesley. I answered your question. I interpreted it wrong, but it looks like somebody else took care of that.
And then one of them, it says, Rachel sent a question. Sean, this might be for you. It's near the bottom. But is this the new technician program replacing the O2 cleaning course, effective January 1 of 16?
No, actually, this course just covers the. It's a good question. This course just covers the visual inspection portion of it. So the TDI O2 service technician course is still in effect, and this doesn't change anything whatsoever with that course.
And it'd be a good one. This is something which you could definitely add to it. That's where I mentioned we cover O2 cleaning in this course. But if somebody wants more knowledge, well, then you would go ahead and expand their knowledge and give them that option to go ahead and do something.
And Richard, your question about the students who are currently certified under the VIP program, that VIP certification is good for 3 years, and then at the end of that 3 years, they'll need to become compliant with all, just like everybody else. So it'll be a 3-year cycle for any user-level certifications.
And then I see an important one here from Robert. Here, sir, that this course content is in litigation, is being sued by the other organization. Their position is if the suit is successful, that all inspectors certified under this program will have their credentials null and voided. No. Sean, you can maybe handle that more, but there is no litigation. John, you want to tackle that one? I have to have my opinions, but I think it's best coming from you.
Yeah, I mean, I answered that in the written side of it, but to our knowledge, to my knowledge, and I deal with most of the lawsuits that happen with this company, there is nothing that is currently in place that is we have not been sued for these things. And I'll assure you that all of our materials are registered. They're checked against any infringements or anything else that may be going on, and registered in the U.S. with the Library of Congress. So that is then taken care of. We have trademark attorneys that review all this stuff. There's no such thing, not to my knowledge, unless they're doing something and we haven't seen it yet. But I haven't heard anything.
I can even say there, I put this program together. A lot of it's public domain, my personal stuff. There's nothing out there which they could sue about. They might be upset by it, and that's good. Let them be upset. That doesn't affect this program at all. But I'd probably say, to answer your final question, that if you take it all of a sudden you can't teach it, I wouldn't see anything even down the road that would do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, that would be a violation of civil liberties, so that would be a difficult one to sell. And Keith, to answer your question, the $500 covers both courses. That covers the user-level course, and it covers the instructor portion of it. So you don't pay $500 for each. It's $500 and it takes care of both. And then the Willis Didier, yes, that is correct. They are shutting down. And actually, it's not May, is not the time frame. The time frame is however long your policy terms are. So if you ran June to June, it's good until June. If you renewed at a later time and you did not get a non-renewal notification, it's good for the term of your policy. They have to follow through on the entire policy, whatever that is for the individual, whether it's a individual liability policy or a facility policy. It's the length of that one.
And it's looking like Steven's asking when next class is in Canada, and Sean answered it, but yes, just give us a call. Depends on, like, if it's in Western Canada, in the Vancouver area, very easy to get up there. Someplace else, just give us a call and we can schedule it, because that's going to be the one issue, is getting this worldwide. But it requires you guys on the webinar to ask. Just let us know where we need to be, and then we're going to work with you to make it happen. But if we don't hear from you, we don't know where we need to go and how to make it set up. And that's going to be with you with the regional offices as well, but I'm sure we can make something work for you.
And Dan, you had a question about the technician course update every 2 years. It's actually a 3-year. So the technician level is a 3-year certification. The instructors is just consistent with our 2-year teaching policy that you have to teach at least once every 2 years. And I believe there were some numbers that he covered in there. So please don't quote me on exactly what I just said. But On the instructor level, it's teaching at your highest level once every 2 years. In order to be compliant with the federal regulations, it has to be renewed every 3 years on a technician and an instructor level.
And a question from Mark Brooks, how are inspectors or instructors covered by your insurance? It's errors and omissions insurance, meaning, and Sean, please correct me if I'm wrong, that you go out there and we tell you to do something on a cylinder, and there's a problem with that, and you said, and something occurred, I followed your program, now I want to sue you. Okay, we've got insurance. So let's say you as an instructor go out someplace and you do something and the person wants to go ahead after it. You can say, oh, I followed this program through international training. International training will have your back. That you, as long as you taught them as the program is developed, you would be covered. Would that be correct, Sean?
That's correct. The errors and omissions, what errors and omissions covers is any mistakes that could be contained within the materials used or the standards published, and that would just be it could be out-of-date information, it could be a typo, it could be a confusing piece of information, it could be any of those things. And then the professional liability covers you for any of your teaching activities. So if you were teaching that course in accordance with the standards, with the materials and everything else, then you would be provided for your professional credentials as well. And then, Rob, you had another question about the current VIP instructor. That's good until January 1st of 2016, so you can continue to teach that. It's not null and void immediately.
And somebody asked to see a previous slide, I think, on the prerequisites. I'm trying to, the question coming in fast and furious. I think it was for the instructor trainer. I think this is the one that was asked for to be shown back up again. But I lost the question. So I hope whoever asked for the slide, this is the slide you wanted. And if not, type in a quick question and I can change it if need be onto it.
It was, that was Gary, and it was the instructor trainer prerequisites, so you're on the right slide.
Okay, good. Making sure we've got that. And hey, Sean, this is Rob's asking, is our current VIP cert still good for a specified time period? And yes, it's good up through the end of this year, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And Steve Parker, yes, the new materials are available and ready to be shipped. And you asked a question about the materials. I'm trying to remember, Dawn, what was the what was the plan on the materials? I mean, materials were included in that $500, I believe.
Oh yeah, for the $500, it's
Yeah.
everything. It's the registration through headquarters. It's I give them some instructor materials to help them out. The book, they get the online, they get the PowerPoint, they get everything, and then they're going to be covered.
And Dan, the Visual Eddy is not currently included in on this program, but we are looking at several other inclusions. There's some people that are writing some materials right now to include, I believe Visual Eddy is one of the ones that we're looking at.
Good question from Philippe. By the way, thank you for the nice comment earlier, Philippe, on your question there. Is a Knowledge Quest workbook required? A test is required. So you can do the Knowledge Quest workbook. They can do it online, or you can provide them with a specific test. But with it, just when you order the books, the Knowledge Quest comes with it, I believe. And Sean, you might be the best one to answer that. Oh, it's an add-on. Okay. Based on that one, Philippe, is you do have to go ahead and they have to be tested to meet at least U.S. federal regulation. They have to have some sort of a test. The Knowledge Quest is the best way to do it. It's already done for you, but you can also create your own.
And Gary, thank you for your comment, and our pleasure. We hope it was informative and answered some of the questions that you guys had. Thank you for taking the time to watch it.
Just going up to the top. Okay, and I was given the 2-minute warning there, Sean. So I guess for those of you still on the webinar, we can't answer any more questions, but luckily they're slowing down. Oops. I'm up to Chris.
Yep. Yes, for those of you that are interested in going through the e-learning program to familiarize yourselves with it, please just contact HQ and ask for a sample code, and we'll be happy to provide.
Yeah, so Chris was cutting in and out a little bit there, but Chris, that's a great point. If you're interested in seeing what the new online materials look like, just and this goes for any of our online courses, if you're interested in seeing those things, just shoot us an email. You can send it to any one of those email addresses, or if you have somebody that you regularly communicate with here in headquarters, and just ask for one of those codes, and we'll send them over to you.
I guess a final point here too is somebody asked, is this being recorded? Yes, it is, and so it'll be available to them, Sean or Chris?
Yes, we can make it available to anybody. As I mentioned earlier in one of the other questions, the recording could be a pretty large file, so we may have to send it to you in a Dropbox, but it is available.
And now we might be near the end since it's 10 o'clock now. I don't know how this works.
So, Don, do you want to answer that question? The last one just came in.
Oh, let's see. Correct. Current VIP instructor would take the inspector course, again, not to learn anything, but just to understand the program. They then get with the instructor trainer, and they have another session to go over any more specifics on it, kind of as a one-on-one. But yes, the current VIP instructor needs to take the one-day course so they understand how it's laid out.
One other thing, just want to make it clear, one of the other staff that's monitoring this thing said that what we'll do is put this on a YouTube channel, and that way you can just follow a link to it, so you don't have to worry about emailing the thing. It'll be a lot easier for you guys. I apologize for that confusion.
And Rob, they say about scheduling classes, if you're interested, get a hold of headquarters or use the email. I'll put it last up here. Let me know. And I can guarantee you're in the Florida area. We've got some instructors training them, and we've got headquarters down there for you. So we can definitely get something hooked up. There we go. So either one of those emails, we can definitely hook something up in that area if you need something sooner than later.
There's one more question on there too, Don. Take that
one. For Michael, DEMA class, for example, will be 2 days. Not if you just want the user course. If you just want to learn to inspect the cylinder, that's just 1 day. But if you want to go ahead and do the instructor portion of it, yeah, I need to plan a couple days. And as that date approaches, we will give you the class schedules. Obviously, as you are well aware, classroom scheduling and times are a little bit difficult. But we'll make it so you can come and do it without having to take away a lot of your time from the show. Try to be as convenient as possible.
And again, just as a final reminder, if there's any questions that we did not answer, that Don or I did not get answered in this last little bit of it, or if I was unable to answer it in writing, we're going to go through all the questions, and we'll make sure that you get the responses to those things so that all of your questions are cleared up, and you can always email whoever you normally contact or communicate with within your regional offices or here at headquarters, and then you can also send it to the email addresses that Don has up on the screen there. All right. Well, thank you guys for attending this and taking the time to do that. We are getting our warning right now. So we're going to wrap up this webinar, and please keep an eye on our newsletters and other events that we post, and give us your feedback. We'd love to hear it.
Thank you.